All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our YouTube channels. For today's, we want to talk about the terms of logic in philosophy. My name is Tanri Wijaya Iwan,
And my
and with
name
my
is Bernadeta Setyaningsih. Hello.
all right, guys. Okay, so we check it out from the first background of discussions. So often an individual performs an action that is irrational or not based on common sense. In other words, the individual acts beyond his reason or logic. This could have happened due to the lack of understanding in understanding logic correctly. So, what exactly is the meaning of logic itself and how to understand logic? So, in this presentation, we will discuss how to understand the nature of logic. Okay, the next.
Okay, it's my turn, Tanri. Now, logic. The term logic came from the Greek word logos, which is sometimes translated as sentences, discourse, rule, and ratio.
Okay, carry on, Miss Bernadeta.
Okay, logic was studied through ancient civilizations, including India, China, Persia, and Greece. In the West, logic was established as a discipline by Aristotle, who gave it a fundamental place in philosophy. In the East, logic was developed by
So, as Miss Bernadetta mentioned about the history that the terms of logic came from, now we're gonna discuss more further about the definition of logic itself. So, logic is included in the branch of philosophy. It is called thinking. So logic talks about the rules of thinking so that with these rules, one can draw the right conclusions. By knowing these methods or rules, you can avoid making mistakes in making decisions. Logic is the study of argumentations. The father of logic is Aristotle, said that logic as a science that is used to make inferences about something precisely. Logic is used as the basis for all kinds of knowledge.
Okay, Tanri, later on we are going to discuss more about logic, but we also need to know some terminology in logic. The first is premises. Premises is what we presuppose, and then conclusion, what we conclude from the premises. Okay, now let's take an example, Tanri, in formal logic. In formal logic, we use deductive reasoning, and the premises must be true. We follow the premises to reach a formal conclusion. So what are the examples of this? Let's take an example. The premises: every person who lives in Quebec lives in Canada. Everyone in Canada lives in North America. The conclusion is every person who lives in Quebec lives in North America. The explanation of this: true facts are presented here. Go on, Tanri.
All right, so the next is all spiders have 8 legs. Black widows are a type of spider. So the conclusion is black widows have 8 legs. The explanation of that is because the argument is not controversial. And the next, bicycles have 2 wheels. Jan is riding a bicycle. So the conclusion, Jan is riding on 2 wheels. The explanation here that the premises are true. And so it is the conclusion. We are going deeper for the next Yeah,
Okay.
Miss Bernadeta.
Okay. Now we are going to talk about informal logic. Informal logic is the mode used in everyday reasoning and argument analysis. Informal logic consists of two types of reasoning, deductive and inductive.
Okay, let's take a look at this example here. So as you can saw that the first kind of logic is formal, but formal logic is only consists of deductive reasoning, and the second informal logic can include both of them, deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. On this kind of reason, this is the type of logical reasoning that use information from a large set and applies that information to any member of that set. For example, all English professors are boring. This is the major evidence, or what do you call it as a premise, proposition. Lauren is an English professor. So it's come from the large set and applies that information to any member of that set. So what is the conclusion? Therefore, Lauren is boring. So the major premise makes a statement concerning members of a profession. The minor premise, which is Lauren, as the small scale of that, identifies a member of that profession. The conclusion declares that since Lauren is a member of a profession, then she must have the characteristics attributed to the profession as a whole. Okay, for the next inductive reasoning, will explain by Ms. Bernadetta, please.
Now, we go on to the inductive reasoning, Tanri. Inductive reasoning is another type of logical reasoning. This uses specific data to form a large generalized conclusion. It is considered the opposite of deductive reasoning. Let's take an example. Today, you left for work at 7:15 a.m. at work on time. Today, you left for work at 7:15 a.m. and arrived at work on time. Therefore, if you leave at 7:15 a.m., you will arrive at work on time. So from the specific one, we go on to the generalized conclusion. Okay, so in this example, we have a small set of data, 2 days of arriving on time, and we have concluded that this will always be the. Okay, next Andre.
Okay. Actually, there are two main kind of logic that we already mentioned there. That is about the formal and informal logic that include the deductive or inductive reasoning. But we have an additional kind of logic also that's called symbolic logic. It's actually quite similar with the type of logic previously. But this kind of logic deals with how symbols relate to each other. It assigns symbol to verbal reasoning in order to be able to check the veracity of the statements through a mathematical process. We typically see this type of logic used in calculus. Look at the example here. The propositions: if all mammals feed their babies milk from the mother, we we sign it A. And then the B, if all cats feed their baby mother's milk. And the C, all cats are mammals. So the alpha means and the symbols means implies. So the conclusion is from the point A and B becoming C, all right? Because the cats are mammals and all mammals feed their babies milk from the mother from the point A. So it become the conclusion to the C that, all mammals are all cats are mammals. Yeah, the explanation that proposition A and proposition B lead to the conclusion becomes C. If all mammals feed their babies milk from the mother and all cats feed their babies mother's milks, it implies all cats are mammals.
That's very simple, Tanri, talking about symbolic logic.
Right. Now we are going further to the last logic. Miss
Okay,
Bernadetta,
now,
please.
yes, thank you. Now talking mathematical logic. In mathematical logic, you apply formal logic to math. This type of logic is part of the basis for use in computer sciences. Mathematical logic and symbolic logic are often used interchangeably.
Yep, actually, mathematics subject is include about learning how logic it works. For example, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's the mathematical logic,
Yeah,
right?
that's one of the example, yeah, of the
Yeah,
math.
that's simple.
Yeah. So from the simplest thing to the more complicated matters, so we apply our logic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
we use our logical reasoning in mathematical subject. Okay, perhaps I think that's enough. We are going to conclude about our material now, as
Okay.
the explanations by me and Miss Bernadetta, we can conclude that we use logic to solve problems and to draw conclusions. So there is two main purpose of that. And sometimes those conclusions are correct and sometimes they are inaccurate. Yes,
Okay.
when you use deductive reasoning, you arrive at current logical arguments, while inductive reasoning may or may not provide you with a correct outcome. Perhaps Miss Bernadetta will add something?
Okay, well, so there are a lot of things that comes after we apply our logic. Yeah. You say that some problems can be solved in a logic order, but sometimes, let's say using the deductive reasoning, but sometimes using the inductive, sometimes they are accurate, but in another time they may not be accurate. Is that you are trying to say, Tanri?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, right, Miss Bernadetta. So we just learn in the common in the general aspect of logic. If you are going to further to decide whether the logic is accurate or inaccurate, there is a term that called logical fallacy.
Oh,
In
I
that
see.
in that terms, you can learn how our logic can be right or wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Okay, so Tanri,
actually,
logic itself does not stand alone.
yes,
When we talk about logic, sometimes we also need to understand about call
the
the
rules.
premise, about the rules, about the arguments and fallacies.
Yes. So actually, this is the main best to learn further. So there is another aspect that we have to learn if we want to fully understand about this. Uh, to we learn after logic, and there is premise, and there is arguments, and there is a logical fallacy
Yeah.
that is
Okay.
discussed by the other presenter, right, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If we want to go deeper about this topic, we also have some references to share, yeah, to those, yeah, who see our presentation today. So it may be helpful for them if they want to know more about our discussion today. So those are it.
Yeah, we suggest you to study this term of logic from the basic, from the common, that from the brief explanation. After that, maybe you can going further into the academic literacy.
Okay.
I think that's enough for our presentation, Miss Bernadetta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of understanding about logic today, Tanri.
yeah.
And we will see you in our next topic course.
All right, right. Okay, guys, thank you for watching our video. See you
Yeah,
next
thank
time.
you for joining us. Yeah, see
Yeah.
you sometimes.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.